pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Everyone would make sure their cell phones are on vibrate or silent, please. Oh, my best. Okay, privilege. That's fine, Jen. Privilege of the floor. Jen, do you have anything, or are you just here for fun?
I'm just here for fun. More support.
Thank you, Jen. That's lovely. Okay, has everyone had a chance to review the packet? May I have a motion to accept the minutes of our last meeting? Or does anyone have changes they wish to see made?
Just one little spelling under director's report.
Yeah.
Bulletin.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Bulletin's misspelled. You transposed the I, the E and the I.
Can you tell me what...
Director's report.
Director's
Yes.
report.
Second sentence.
Second
Sentence
sentence.
from
new
the top.
bulletin. A new bulletin.
Board. A new bulletin board. Your wife's name is...
Director's report, the
Yeah,
second
yeah.
sentence,
The letter?
a new bulletin board.
B-U-L-L-E.
This-
Around the relationships.
Macom reported the library. It ends with has been distributed. New sentence, a new bulletin.
You see that on there? No. Oh, that's for this meeting. We want last meeting.
Ah, that's what
I'm like, did I make it up?
No, okay.
I see that.
Okay. Okay, may I have a motion to accept, oh, sorry?
Privilege of the floor, it's Debbie Maroney. You've got Abby Maroney.
Her daughter,
No,
Debbie,
was-
Debbie
Oh.
didn't speak, it was her daughter.
Debbie
and her
didn't
daughter-
speak?
No,
Oh,
her
excuse me.
daughter,
Oh,
the
I
scouts.
thought-
was Abby.
See? And it's,
Abby is
and it's Abby is, but it's one R from Marone.
I thought it looked funny when I looked. I was like, "That's what."
She's your daughter?
And then on the film showings, one was 80, one was 50. The second one was 50.
Oh, okay. I thought that was combined total.
No,
So we could just make it 130?
130.
you could do it for a total, yeah.
Yeah, that works. Any other changes to the minutes? Going once. May I have a motion to accept the minutes as amended? Nancy, the second. Norma, all in favor? All opposed? All abstentions? Okay, unanimous, Carol. Thank you very
Thank
much. Treasurer's report.
Okay, great. Thanks, Elmary. Good evening, everybody.
Evening, Jack.
How's everyone?
Good, thanks.
We have the reports through December, which is halfway through the year. So it's a good guide of how well we're doing 6 months through the year. Off to a good start in the new year. And our expenses are pretty much, literally, if we tried to be any more on budget in the grand total, I don't think we could if we tried. And normally I wouldn't skip to the bottom line, but the bottom line, 648 and change budget, total spending almost 642. So that's within 6,000. And when you add in the Baker and Taylor that's sitting up there, I did catch up a lot on the Baker and Taylor, as Bernie can attest to. We saw a couple of huge bills in the last month or so. They're almost paid through the end of November, so we still have December outstanding for the Baker and Taylor. So when those are entered, I would say that we're almost literally probably within $1,000 of our total budget. Now, some lines are over by a little and some are under by a little, but their overall budget package is pretty much within $1,000, so it's pretty accurate. The salaries are running 2,400 year-to-date under budget. Some other areas are under budget. The retirement, as we know, was over budget, and that's just something that was totally beyond their control. And also, that's on the report. I think I didn't bring myself down the copy, but I printed out the list of the checks.
Yes.
I think I have that. I just printed
Yeah, you
it
did.
sideways.
75.
Yeah, you remember signing that,
Yes,
right?
I
So
do.
very
Right, a
painful.
little bit.
Exactly. So that's the whole. If it wasn't for that, we would really be doing well, because that's 8,000. We would be like,
Yeah.
you know, to almost 10,000 under budget. But even with that, we're still pretty much right on. So I think we're off to a good start. Like I say, the books just have to be entered for maybe the last week in November and then December, and then we're as more current on the books as we've been in a long, long time. And in November, you saw we got our second tax check in. So now between the two accounts, we have, $711,000 and change between the two of them. We did look into the interest rates in other banks, and we're earning 0.35% in Orange County Trust. And some of the others, they were all point this, point that. There was nothing anywhere near 1%. So
Okay.
we asked them to look into CD rates for a few months, but they said that might not even work. The rate might be just as low. The CD would only be better like if we went out like a year or so, and the money it won't be available for that long, or at least a large portion of it won't be available for that long. The loan after the payment in the new year, the January payment, the balance is down to $195,695.79. And January was a 2-year mark. We have exactly 24 more payments, and then the loan will be kaput. So we're on our way. And more or less, that's it.
Any questions for Jack?
We have $500 a year in our budget for direct deposit fees under
Yes,
the employee benefits. These are fees we pay to whom?
to the bank for handling our direct deposit for the employees. I think 2/3 or so of the employees have direct deposit. There's still a handful of people who want the old-fashioned check and then they go to the bank, but most employees have direct deposit, and that's just the fees that's associated with the bank handling the direct deposits for us. So for the year, I can't even remember if last year we hit the whole 500, and I don't think we did. So we might have more budget in there than what it actually is. I could research that for you if you like. I think we just used, well, actually for the year, we are already up to 400, so
Yeah.
I'll have to check what that was last year, but more or less that's what it's fee. It's just the fees associated with that.
The bank where we're keeping hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars
Mm-hmm.
charges us for direct deposit. Seems like,
Right, that would be key.
seems like, why they put all our money, they would,
Okay, I could follow up on that.
seems like a kind of a ridiculous thing. And the other thing is, did the leaves get raked up front?
No, I haven't spoken to them until, it snowed after I talked to them, they were coming, and then it snowed once
But
and
there
snowed
were
again.
several
but
days there when they could have.
I went out tonight, it didn't look like it, so I'll have to call them again.
Yeah, I mean, you can see,
Yeah,
the leaves that are old and spots in the lawn, grass is gonna be really in bad
Okay.
shape because
I'll
of
call
the
them
fact that
tomorrow.
they basically didn't, they came too early, before the leaves were all down, they came, and then they never came back.
Right.
Right,
And it's a real mess.
Might be a good week to come do
Yeah,
it now.
yeah.
It's more for the next couple of days. Right?
I'll call in the morning.
It's supposed to snow
Till
tomorrow.
Wednesday,
That's more now.
till Wednesday morning.
Saying come
Yeah, they should hurry.
So come tomorrow afternoon and rake the leaves.
So
That's a good thing to remember for next year when we're deciding what to do with that. So
Yeah.
who's gonna do our lawn?
the 8,500 over for the retirement account. So we're gonna have to keep that in mind at the end of the year.
And it's gonna go up again next year.
Yeah, but
we
just in
don't know
terms
how
of
much yet.
doing a what do we call those things?
Register.
Adjustments or
Journal entry?
journal entry?
Journal
Yeah,
entry.
we have to figure out what
Well,
we can by the end of the year.
We got notified, what did we get notified for next year? Did we get notified yet for next year?
yes, and we ran the computation and we came up with, according to their figures, it would be like 79,000.
Right.
But that seems like if it only goes from 75 to 79, that would be, it seems like that would be good
Compared to this year.
but compared to the,
Yeah.
but maybe this year was the big hit year.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe not, but they
Yeah.
warned us repeatedly that
Yeah.
from the market loss from 08 to 09, that they lost so much money that in future years, the increase was gonna be more substantial than what it
It's
had.
11% now? I think it's 11%, and then I think it's gonna be 15. I
Right.
think it's 15% next year. for, is this ERS, do we do ERS,
I don't know.
state retirement system?
Yeah.
Yeah, in New York State
It's
local
ERS,
retirement, right, yeah.
15%.
They gave us that thing and we ran the numbers. It's based on not our total salary, it's only based on the salaries of employees who are in the retirement system. So we can't just take like a portion of our total salaries.
Sure, it's only the full-times, right.
Right, so, but Bernie and I ran the numbers and according to their calculation, it would be 79 or so.
Yeah, if their estimations are correct, that's the
Right.
problem.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's the problem last year, too. Their
Yeah.
estimations were a little off.
And they changed
Little
it
under.
from what they first
Yeah.
sent us.
Right, they
yeah,
sent
that-
us one thing, and then
Yeah.
they were like, oh, we made a mistake. It's gonna be about 10,000 more than that. for
Right,
us, yeah.
absolutely.
And we had to scramble and find it, because we didn't know what. Budget line for it.
But if we had to do a journal entry at the end of the year to cover that, remember the professional fees will probably have money available at the end, because we
Right.
still budgeted for the audit and the Gatsby audit. And really,
Right.
the only thing we've used is Rob Schultz, I believe. I don't think we've had any legal fees yet this year,
Okay,
so.
okay. Any other question for Jack?
Just on the checks, is it separate or
We can include that, because it's all Jack's doing, and then we'll make a.
just a couple of ones that don't have any explanation next to them? Richard Villa?
Okay, that's an interesting one. That's a former employee. He left, I guess, 3 or 4 years ago, and for some strange reason, he had a series of small paychecks. He's only part-time, so none of them were that significant, that he never cashed. And they were hanging out on our bank reconciliation as uncleared outstanding checks. So Rob Schultz asked Matt and myself if we could try and get a hold of Richard to see, if he had those checks, and they were probably too old for him to cash now. So I added up the total of what the outstanding were, and it came up to like $900 and something, I believe.
901.
901. And we sent him a replacement check for those. So when he cashes that, it'll be the equivalent as if he cashed the paychecks. Because the paychecks are different than a regular expense check. We can't just void it out of QuickBooks because it's payroll data. So we're just going to do like a swap and exchange those paychecks for the new check that we issued. And then after he cashes that, then we could take those paychecks off our outstanding checklist, so we don't have a whole bunch of stuff that's just going to sit there indefinitely.
No, it's definite that he can't cash those old checks, so he's not gonna hit us for 1,800.
No, because they're so old, the bank wouldn't honor them anyway. They're like
Okay.
from '09 or
All right, just
He didn't
2010.
cash his paycheck?
No,
You just like working here.
Interesting
somewhat.
character.
Yeah.
right.
Yes, he is.
So neaten up the books, having them off, yeah. But I'm glad you asked that. I should have
He
mentioned
was
it.
fun.
He was fun.
And Solomon Guggenheim?
Oh, that's one of the museum passes, I think.
Okay.
Right, right,
You can
And-
see the delightful check we sent to the retirement system.
right. That's,
That
one
was-
check is 90% of the expenses
I
this
know.
one.
Terrible.
And what about advanced
Yeah, Advanced
Solutions?
Solutions, what is that?
That's our calendar, I think. Right, David, advanced, yeah.
What
It's the
cal-
calendar that's on the
Website.
website that you can use to register for programs. And it's a sort of interactive calendar.
That's $2,000.
That's 2,000.
Is that the whole year?
Yeah, $2,000?
Yeah. What does it go? Is it 1 year or 2 year?
I think it's 1 year, but I'm not 100% sure.
Is it worth $2,000 to have that?
That makes registration a lot easier. That allows people to get onto your website and register for programs from online.
Is there cost involved sometimes with the programs? Or is it all free programs?
Basically, they're free.
Basically, because I know that some of the other, like Goshen Joint Rec, they also pay a lot of money to their calendaring system because it's difficult to find a good one that accepts, in their case, money. But, yeah, for some reason, if you get it running well, you get to charge a lot of money for your calendaring system.
This is kind of the standard calendars that most libraries use. I know of Advanced.
No, it's a lot.
So it's the price of a database. The
Okay.
reference databases are similarly priced, 500, 1,500. But I agree, it is. But it is a definite, it's helpful. Otherwise, you'd have staff having to do all that
Right.
stuff.
Design and
On the
maintain
phone.
it, yeah.
Mhm. Or taking the phone call and putting in dealing with computer users. No, honestly.
Yeah, the biggest
And,
benefit
you know,
really is that, it just
frees up staff hours that we don't have to have somebody doing that instead of library.
Mhm. Yeah, I was laughing because we were talking earlier about
Yeah.
the age that we live in.
Yeah.
Technology
Yeah.
age.
Oh, flying cars and whatnot.
In fact, we've thought in the past about doing something like just a Google thing, but the libraries that do that, you know, first of all, usually they're very, very small libraries, because they don't have the money to use the calendar. And that's the issue, is just staff time and dealing with the, you know, keeping all that stuff straight. You have 15 different programs and different lists and different age groups. This lets you, you know, kind of tailor, customize each program, age levels, and kind of control stuff for you. You have to put a card number in, so it'll, you know.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jack?
Farms in Rockland, do we get our, is that just electric?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I believe so, right, Matt? I think it's
Yes.
just electric, yeah.
That's monthly.
Yes. Because we have NYSEG for the gas.
Yeah, right. I just
Right.
didn't know if you were getting both.
Oh, and also, I'm looking, I left my sheet upstairs, but I see the Big Baker and Taylor, you can see, that's why
Yeah.
we got a lot entered and we paid them a good,
Yeah,
that might be the highest we've ever paid them. But that's what got us caught up.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
We have a motion to accept the treasurer's report. Norma, second. Jim, all in favor? Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Am I sticking around?
Yeah, for a little while.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, this is okay.
Right, more fun stuff.
I know. All right. Committee reports. So, it's the Physical Resources Committee. Let's do this.
Has everybody read this, or not
Yes.
just yet?
All right.
Very thorough, thank you.
Okay.
This is good.
The short of it is the building needs to be maintained and/or repaired. Some of it's in progress already. The cupola is being repaired with money that was donated to us. And there are other areas that need to be repaired as well. And briefly to go through them, the cupola I mentioned, the rear roof on the 1978 portion, 78 portion of the building is older than what it was rated for. It needs to be replaced, and we actually had an issue with that earlier this year. The painting the exterior of the building, as well as window caulking associated with that. The rear driveway needs to be repaired and resurfaced, and potentially getting rid of the grass, redrawing it. And again, earlier this year, we had issues with the sewage to examine that. We met and talked about the different aspects of it, and the short of it is we need money to do that, to make the repairs. And estimations are each of these repairs would be in the 10 to 20,000 range, and that we should consider increasing the budget by $20,000 this year, over and above what we've already discussed, and that that single increase for 1 year will stay in the budget for the next 4 years, and then each of the 4 years we can replace or repair each of those items mentioned in any order that we see as required. We're going to have experts come in and actually determine whether the roof needs to be repaired this year, or the paint needs to be repaired this year. The parking lot will probably be much later, but still needs to be done because we had an accident earlier this year. So something needs to be done with that. And that's the short of it. In terms of how we can go about it, we can either go for a single increase 1 year as capital improvement as a separate line item for the voting process, or we can just add it to our budget 1 year and let it ride for 5 years and just use that same $20,000 year after year. And then at the end of the fifth year, whatever's left over, just don't increase the budget by that amount, if we can do that. And that's the short of it. The issue, of course, is that our budget was tailored to a 2% increase to stay within the tax levy cap, or tax levy cap is what they don't like to call it, but so we would have to pass a what do we have to pass?
Resolution.
A resolution, thank you. To go above the budgets for that amount and go through the steps I think we've discussed in the past. Whether to do that is the question.
I hate that idea. Well, I'm inclined not to do that because we are 2 years out from paying off the loan, which is $104,000 a year. Once the loan's paid off, that's $104,000 a year that we have. If we do get the cooperation of the school district like we should, we will have a $215,000 fund balance available to us on July 1st and owe $150,000 on the loan, which would free up that 104 for the following year and 75, roughly 65 left from the fund balance, which should be more than enough to do the roof, I would think. We don't have
Well,
to
yeah.
eat up the whole fund balance to pay off the loan, but if we're earning less than 1% and paying out 5%, it makes sense to kill off the loan instead of suck the money away. Do you know what I mean? And then that would free up, well, by then, like I said, it's only 150 out of 115, so we have $65,000 in our fund balance that we won't need to operate the library because we will have the first quarter funds up front from the school board. So, because I've been looking on, I don't know how many of you have friends on Facebook who've been complaining about their most recent paycheck and the tax bite that's been taken out of it. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
People are angry. I got my paycheck and it's $100 less. That's $200 less this month. How am I going to pay my bills? We can't then go to those people and go, yeah, we said 2%, but we're going to ask for 4%, or whatever it is we're going to do. And I don't think that's going to go over well. I'm just really not inclined to do it when everybody voted for it and they were vehement to have a 2% cap, and then we're just going to cavalierly. I know we can do it. I know we aren't cavalierly doing it. That is how it will look. And if people are annoyed now, right after they pay their taxes, they're not going to be very happy with us. Our vote's what, April 17th?
Well, can we have a general discussion? Of the whole thing?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but I'm just, I read this and this is what I was thinking when I
Right.
read your report.
Right.
And so that's my feelings on the, I mean, I don't get the final say, but.
Well, and not to not side with you, not to side with you. What have we heard from the school district? Anything?
We haven't heard anything because they canceled their January 7th meeting.
Okay.
So I am assuming they got the letter because the mail service in Goshen is pretty good. I just haven't heard a word, not a peep, but they're having their next meeting next Tuesday. I would guess that the board would want to discuss anything before they respond to us.
Okay. So that's good.
But
We should
included
go to
in
that
your
meeting.
packet is the law that has our backs, so
Yeah.
we shouldn't have a problem.
In terms of the timing, we need to decide tonight for what we're doing for the budget.
Yes.
Either way. Okay. So if we decide not to go above the 2%,
Mhm.
I think I want to give credit to Jack, because Jack was, when we were talking about it, and Jack said something about, well, since the majority of our loan payment is principal at this point.
Yes.
Okay. I would like to believe that the school district will do the right thing.
I think they will. I think when they see that we're not being unreasonable, we are within our rights, and we're not. I don't expect to have a problem from the school
Okay.
board. I expect them to be surprised because I don't think that they understand the relationship. But I think by the time they have their meeting next week, they will either have been educated on the topic, but I don't expect a problem from them.
Okay, so as a backup plan, what we discussed earlier in the week was that if we actually don't have the fund balance that to use for repairs, that we might actually, although you talked about paying it off, that we might actually be able to extend the loan for another year, possibly two. And depending on how much that would add to our, how much we wanted to do in repairs and how much that would add to our annual budget to actually use that money for repairs.
See,
Because the ultimate problem is that depending on whether the repairs can wait or not,
Right.
that's the biggest
no,
problem.
I get that.
Yeah, so-
I remember having a discussion along the similar lines about the possibility of I think it was Jim who suggested we have a separate line in the vote this spring. We have our budget, and then we have like a capital line like the school board does.
Right.
And okay, they need 3 new school buses for $50,000 or whatever it is. We do the similar thing for improvements, and we need to repair the roof, and we need whatever it is. And okay, here's our budget, and we would like 50,000 to do capital repairs. If that fails, that 50,000 fails, then talk about renegotiating the loan as a fallback position.
Right.
And then because I think it's better to have it 2 separate things, let the voters decide, and then, I mean, the repairs have to be done, whether or not they're willing to pay out of pocket for them. I mean, we can't really,
But the repairs not all of the repairs are of an emergency
right,
situation,
I
you know,
said 50 'cause that was the number we came up
for
with
example,
last time.
painting the building,
Right,
that's not the same as fixing the roof.
right,
You know, that's, correct me if I'm wrong, you know, our most pressing concern is that leaky roof.
yes,
You know, so that, I'm imagining that's not gonna be between $10,000 and $20,000.
no, it's probably
You know,
closer
and
to
probably
Could be
taking
like
care of the
8 or 10, yeah. Yeah.
cupola, whatever that
Mhm.
thing up there is, may resolve may buy us some time,
Mhm.
you know. So it's a question of us deciding, you know, what is it that we need, what are your must-haves and this is what we need, however, we can, over a period of time, we can
Mhm.
extend it out, you know. Keeping the rain out of the library, that's number one,
Yes.
you know. Paving the parking lot,
That's a
that's,
nice-
Number 4, yeah.
Yeah.
4 or 5, yeah.
you know, and also keeping in mind that at some point, we're gonna begin discussions of a new library,
Mhm.
you know, and so how much money do we wanna put into this building?
Mhm.
And, you know, knowing that that's something that we will be talking about. You know, of course, we don't wanna let it go into complete disrepair, but, you know, just sort of spruce it up enough to keep it
From rotting.
good for company,
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
my mama would say.
Well, and the resale value is important as well. so,
Correct.
I mean,
Well,
painting-
which is another issue about paying off the loan, is the sooner the land is paid for, the less of an issue it becomes. That's the only reason not the only reason, it's one of the main reasons I'd like to not extend the loan, is the
Yeah,
sooner we
agreed.
get the, right,
Yeah.
because it is a sore point. There are still some people who will always be a sore point for, but once it's paid for and it's not an issue anymore, do you know what I mean? It's,
Then they'll want us to sell the land.
there you go.
Yeah.
They might, but if people, I think more people are understanding the cramped nature of the library and the age of the library, and it's just, this isn't workable anymore, this building. We're not being ridiculous, we're not being greedy about it, but, you know,
And I think
Yeah.
they also say that we're being responsible,
right.
you know, that we're,
Right.
you know, this current board and the previous board have been on top of paying off that loan so that that
Mhm.
land is available should we go
Right.
there for a library. And that every penny is accounted for and
Mhm.
has not been frivolously
Frivolously.
spent, you know, on things that we don't need, that we can point to and say, you know, we've fixed the downstairs when we were flooded.
Right.
This is everything that we've done. You know, the sewer, hopefully
Mhm.
the next 100-year storm won't happen until
100 years from
we're
now.
way gone. And we'll build the next library on stilts.
With really good pipes
Mhm.
and shut-off valves. Jim, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, I think as far as what needs to be done, we need to emphasize that this is essential maintenance work. That's all it is, just maintenance.
Yeah.
And the building has to be maintained for the reasons that have already been stated. So what we're really, the only discussion really is how are we going to fund it? Now, your point, as I understand it, is that if the loan is paid off in 2 years, anything that's done in year 3 or year 4 can come out of
That money.
that money. So we're really only talking about the 2-year window. How do we fund repairs in the 2-year
This year,
window?
next year.
Or can any of these repairs be postponed beyond the 2-year window?
Mhm.
The roof, at the moment, it's not leaking in the back, right? Because we extended the pipes.
Years later, right?
We just don't know what's gonna happen there. It's way past its life expectancy, so it's probably prudent to just go ahead and do it, rather than end up with leaks and then be, 8 months away from having the money to deal with it or something. The painting, there's so much putty that's come out that the paint job is gonna be so expensive because we postponed it. We've been postponing it now for years. We've been talking about this building needing to paint for at least 3 or 4 years. We've been talking about it.
Mhm.
You mentioned that there are people that walk in the building and say to you, when are you going to take care of this building?
Mhm.
So it seems like there are 2 things that have to be done within the 2-year window. And if the only way we can get funds to do that is to go with a separate proposition, if we're going to do the roof first, then we can safely do it for $15,000. We could go for $15,000.
Mhm.
This in the immediate, budget.
Right.
The vote, but as a separate item. But whatever we do, I don't want to postpone doing the work.
No, I don't know.
And if people do not approve that proposition, that capital proposition, then we're going to have to find some other way to do it. And our general budget is so tight at this point. I mean, I hate to think of buying fewer books or letting people go, but we're going to have to do this work.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I just,
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Can we, at this point, put it out, can we gently bring it into the public's view by putting it out to bid? Like just, putting those 2 projects out to bid. The painting, of the building. So we get hard numbers, so we get some competitive numbers possibly. Put the roof out so we kind of publicize it in the Chronicle of, here we are, we're looking to get some people who may be interested in, companies interested in, so the public starts to see that we are looking, and we turn it as a health and safety issue. There are 2 health and safety issues. So if you turn it as a health and safety issue, and this is what we're looking, we're doing one of 2 things. One, we're being responsible and we're getting the best price. And 2, we're demonstrating that this building's falling apart and we need to build a new one.
Mhm.
It builds a nice foundation for what we want to do for the future. But at the same time, we're getting competitive numbers, and you're coming back, the health and, the buildings and ground committee's coming back and, giving us some hard numbers. Maybe it's going to be 8,000, our best bid on the roof will be, XYZ. Then we can actually budget for it. And if we need to dip into the general fund as a health and safety issue, or bring it to the voters, then we know exactly what we want to, what the cost is going to be. That's,
we have to make
The budget
a
tonight.
decision tonight.
Tonight.
There's really no time to go out and get bids. And the other thing is that the bidding process can be expensive because you've got to get people who are technically trained, architects and so on, to draw up the bids.
Right.
And that's also time consuming.
For the roof, we have to get an architect to bid?
I don't know about whether the roof would need an architect, but
For the painting and window repair,
I
we
think we're gonna
need
have to have
an
somebody that-
architect?
my understanding is that it's not something that a layperson can simply,
No, but
Well,
but I
bids.
mean, somebody who would repair that for a living, wouldn't they be qualified enough to come and see and assess and
well, if
see
you
that?
just put it out and get 3 bids, you're gonna find that they're gonna have different qualities and different
Right.
approaches, and you can't really compare your bids unless you have,
Unless you have
An
somebody who
architectural-
tells you, I got
somebody
it.
who's,
Like an
overseeing and
engineer
managing
looks
for
at
us.
it and
'cause
tells us.
That's right.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
We'd want to do one
Right.
thing before we did the other two.
Right,
Well, the thing is, we have to get this work done regardless of what the vote turns out to be, correct?
right.
So we're going to need the bids anyway, aren't we? Pretty much.
Right.
I'm not saying, we are gonna have to do this in order to hire someone to fix these problems. The roof is first, it makes sense to do the roof and then the walls and, I'm inclined to have, you would know what I'm inclined to do, have our regular budget and then have a separate health and safety, building repair, maintenance kind of
Oh.
line in the.
Right, if the roof is first, you mentioned the figure of 8,000, you thought 15, did you get any, what was the basis for that? Is that just,
Just the square
Something-
footage of the roof compared to what I know some colleagues have had their roofs replaced for under 20, so for an entire house.
You're talking about a flat roof,
Yeah,
a commercial type building?
yeah.
This is,
Do we know what's
this is,
underneath?
this is.
Plywood underneath.
Between
all
10 and
those
20?
other
But that's the issue, though, is that if there's anything that needs to be replaced underneath,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
it's-
Right,
it's
there's
gonna
been a slow
be-
leak there for years that we're not aware of.
exactly.
Right, and
it
it could
could
be all
lot
it could
more
be under,
expensive.
right.
So what should we do?
So we need to have enough in the budget, in the capital budget to cover.
So if we just say, let's say we ask for $25,000 to do the roof, and the roof comes in at 20, we put that 5 aside toward
It's a
the
capital
caulking
item.
and, right.
Sort of
So
painting.
now we have our capital fund to the side,
Right.
and that can be part of, and then if the, school board follows through like they should, and we get our money on July 1st, what do you wanna do? Do you want to then take part of the fund balance and work on the windows and painting over the summer, or do you wanna wait till next year for that? Cause it sounds rather urgent, it sounds as urgent as the roof.
It seems like the windows would probably need to be done before the actual painting.
Right, no, that's what I
Yeah,
mean, it's
so-
the repairs, it's,
I would
but I
think
mean,
the
if you're gonna
sewer
repair
line,
the window, you're not gonna wanna leave it naked, you want it painted as soon as possible. So it is kind of, while it may be 2 or 3 different people doing the work, it is kind of one job.
I
But we
would think
can
the sewer,
also-
I'm sorry, but
yeah.
I would think the sewer line would be of, in case we have another 100-year flood, and we don't want any more flooding in this, no?
Yeah, when was the sewer line last scoped?
A year ago, probably?
And did they, if we can get the report from them to see whether they thought something was collapsing on it, or whether they could tell from.
Yeah, from what I remember, no, they just said it needed to be cleaned soon, but I'll see what I can get.
Clean,
for-
not replaced.
Clean.
If I remember right, yeah.
But was that before or after the storm that we had?
That was after the first storm, that was after Irene, but, right, not before this one,
Okay.
so.
So what is the sewer main excavation and replacement, what did you mean?
Because we don't know what kind of pipes they are, and if they are Orangeburg pipes and they're gonna collapse, we wanna replace them with something that isn't going to collapse. But
Right,
we
but-
don't know what we have, so we would have to excavate, right?
Yeah.
Find out what we have and then replace it with something.
So it's not just cleaning.
No,
It's-
it's a
yeah.
big project.
That's
Yeah,
the,
so that's-
at worst case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, yeah, in worst case, that's pretty expensive too.
But the other thing too is if we do just go for an additional vote for 25,000, let's say,
Right.
and so we have, let's say, 10,000 left over
Mm-hmm.
for capital projects. Then if we do have the remaining excess July 1st, all we need to decide tonight is to go for the 20,000 or
I think
25,000.
so too, yeah.
And then we'll have money left over. And then if we don't have money left over for caulking and painting or for the sewage, we can
Mhm.
discuss it in August.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we don't have to make a decision tonight that will bind us on July 1st, but,
And certainly between now and then, we can
Right.
enlist quotes and experts and to see what exactly the situation is.
okay, so we'll have our 2% increased budget and then a separate $25,000 capital improvement, maintenance, safety, I don't know how we want to word it.
Capital
but-
improvement.
Yeah, but it's maintenance too, because capital improvement sounds like we're remodeling the library.
Well, just capital budget.
Capital budget, yeah,
Capital
okay.
budget.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's legal
Right.
wording for it, I just don't know what it is. But, so that's what we're in agreement, but we're going to have our 2% budget and $25,000 toward repairs and improvements on the building.
And that way we don't need to.
We don't have to worry about things.
You probably shouldn't even use the word improvements.
No, that's
because-
why I said that.
I
Yeah,
think you're right
improvement
about that,
sounds like
because it
we're
implies
renovating.
putting on an addition or something.
Right, exactly, but it's maintenance, it's just
Right.
repairing a roof before it falls
Right.
on your head.
Capital repairs
Yeah, repairs, okay.
Capital repairs.
Capital repairs, right.
or infrastructure, whatever.
There you go, I like that. Infrastructure's such a good word.
It's a $2 word.
That is, that's one of those English teacher words. All right, so is
We're
everyone
going with
in agreement?
infrastructure?
Infrastructure, I like it.
You think we can go for a full 25?
I think that's the safe bet because when I had my roof done, we found lots of surprises and I had to get 10 pieces of plywood replaced. And then the skylight came out and tons of water just fell into it. It was lovely. And the estimate went from 12 to 18 very quickly. So I don't know what they're going to find in our neglected roof that nobody's taken care of,
Are we gonna have any
which expired in the 90s.
Are we gonna have any number before then, in case the guy who's totally against this happens to be a roofer?
Well, I think
Is
that's
going
what
to write
we-
up there to the editor saying that's not gonna cost 25,
Well, you
that's
know
gonna
what,
cost
there's
us
always gonna be,
50.
there's gonna be somebody who's always gonna do something like, well, here's the other thing too, if that is what happens, then we have to find the money somewhere else.
Right.
You know, I mean, we
Mhm.
do have,
But I think
But we better
should-
have a defense, we
But
better
I think
have,
we should list at 25 and just say, this is what needs to be done, the roof, the windows,
right,
painting, the
right.
parking lot,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna start with the roof. If the
Right.
25 covers the roof plus the painting,
painting,
great.
we're gonna
If it
do
only
that.
covers
If
the
not,
roof,
And that's what we're gonna do, right,
Yeah.
and I think that's brilliant, that's exactly, because
Mhm.
there's no reason not to tell everybody what has
Right.
to happen.
Right.
And this is
We
what
have
we
to.
want the
Right,
money
the
for,
owner
right.
mentioned the
It shows that
Right.
we're only looking, right now, we're just
we-
asking for
right.
some of it so we can
Right.
do.
We need to do
what we
all
can
of these
and- yeah.
things. We've decided this is the order of importance. We're starting here. If it covers
Yeah.
the whole thing, bravo. If it overlaps, we're gonna start on the second part of it. I think that's exactly the way to handle it. And yes, I think we should also start getting bids for the roof as soon as possible, simply because someone is going to ask us, well, who'd you have bid on it? And we, well, here.
Now, usually a bid is good for, is it like 90 days or something?
Sounds right.
Just a
I
certain-
can check. We've never done, you're talking about an RFP in the papers kind of, we've never had to do that. We've never gone above that threshold, so this is new for me. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah. Does this go above the threshold? Didn't we change the threshold?
To 30, was it?
Yeah, so we may not
We
have
may
to,
not have to do that.
we may
one.
not have to
Okay.
do it that way.
Well, it's a state law.
I
We
know,
have to find out
we
what that-
just
right.
changed it,
Yes,
so now I
right.
can't remember what it is.
Oh, I'll look
I
into
think it
it.
was 25.
I
maybe.
think that's why it rang a
Okay.
bell with me. 25, I think, is where we drew the line.
So an RFP.
All right, so we're in agreement. 2% budget increase and $25,000 for capital repairs and maintenance.
But if the school district withholds everything until October, any bids that we get are gonna be so old that we have no
Well, you
value.
know what? If the school district is doing something like that, then we have to ask for a 25% TAN up front. They're supposed to give us our money on July 1st. The law is in your packet.
Right.
And the comptroller's opinions, everything. They are actually supposed to have a separate fund. Our money is supposed to sit in it, and any interest it earns is supposed to go to us. I've never seen a penny of that. I'm not gonna give them a hard time about that. I'm not gonna give them a hard time about the interest on the TAN that we've paid that we weren't supposed to. I think we start from here and move forward and do it properly. Give us our money on July 1st, and then give us our balance on October 1st. And so there's really no good reason for them not to do it.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is I think it's too early to get a bid.
Oh, yeah, no, you're probably right, but I'm
Yeah,
just
probably
saying that.
The earliest might be, if we're gonna get the money in July,
Right,
the
right,
earliest
right.
might be May or June for the bid.
That's true. That's true. I'm just thinking about the
Right.
heading off questions, but you're right.
Do we need to, for the infrastructure repairs, is it this, it needs to pass by the same as the regular budget?
I mean, it's,
The vote, you mean, does
yeah,
the vote have to
yeah,
be the same?
Majority.
Yeah, the
Simple
It's a
majority.
majority, it's
Simple
not,
majority.
it's a simple majority.
Simple majority,
it's
not
it's not
regular,
a-
it's not, we don't need
Okay.
anything above and beyond.
It's not
Okay.
above the 2%. Well,
Right.
how much would it be if we were to, what would be the percentage change in the 2%?
It would be another
25,000.
2%, no, what would it be?
What would it be?
It's
23,
1.2 million.
24.
Is our
1%
budget?
is,
11,748 would be
Right,
one,
so it would be it would be another 2%, so we'd be asking for a 4% increase.
Okay.
Right.
See, we're not doing that
I
because
just
then it
wondered
would
if it was
carry
just,
over year after year. We're just doing this for a one-time thing, which is
Right.
why it's not the
I think
same.
it's-
Well, this way they can also say yes to the budget and no to that without sinking us entirely. You know, because we will get that too.
Vote early and vote often.
There you go. That's our motto. Okay. So, anything else about the physical resources? Any other committee reports? Are you done? I don't want to, I think we covered everything.
No, I think, I didn't read your report. Did you have the leader, anything with the leader
No, I
in the
didn't
report?
have to talk to Danny about the broken leader now.
Yeah, the leader that Danny added before, it actually collapsed on itself and was hanging at an L down the side of the building, so. So Danny will have that repaired
Yeah.
momentarily.
We're gonna take the budget out of
The Island of Misfit Libraries, that's where we belong. All right, so is that it? Are you
That's-
done? Okay. Are there any other committee
But I
reports?
can say,
Yes.
as a member of the committee, I'd like to compliment Bernie as chair, who did a terrific job
Oh, yeah, he did. This is a
bringing
thorough
all this
report.
together and making sense out of it, so thank you.
Good
I'll be,
job, Bernie.
I'll be plagiarizing you for the newsletter.
Feel free.
How's the sunshine, are you still a sunshine committee? Jim? You are, right?
Yes.
Oh, you need $20.
How are you doing financial-wise? Do you need money?
I thought we were supposed to bring.
That's what I'm trying to remember,
Yeah,
if we
but
said we were
I
gonna.
There's no emergency, but if,
Next month, we're gonna hit us up
Yeah.
with $10 each or something?
20.
20?
No, I thought you were gonna collect
We used to do
20 tonight.
20.
I know, that's what
Yeah.
I thought too, and I can't remember,
I
did
have
I give
10.
you money last time? or-
let's do it next time.
All right.
I'll bring the.
I don't know, I
envelope.
have money today, I might not have it.
I know. Did you see my paycheck, Jim?
That's right. Hear those tax cuts then. Okay.
Yeah, it's already said, or?
Yeah, I think
so.
it's good,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, great, thank you, thanks
Thank you,
everybody.
Jack.
Thank you.
We just agreed on
Well.
the budget, so we can probably just skip right over that.
Thanks everybody.
Okay. Thank you, Jack. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody, thanks.
Okay, there's no other committee reports? Okay, Matt, you're up.
Okay, contrary to his report, this is the shortest report I think I've ever submitted, but I left some things out of it.
Yeah, lovely.
First is I'll be out for a few days in a week for surgery, so I'll be gone probably Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, something like that, just so you know. I left out too
Maybe
that,
the sunshine fund should,
See?
That was the reason we needed to. Give us some flowers, maybe we'll be able to-
I just thought, I'm like, oh, flowers.
Just
Somebody
smell anything.
We have
I'm
some
giving you
time.
tonight.
No flowers, no
Let's smell
candy,
that.
it's all you.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
another thing I forgot to mention from, I worked with Casey and Eleanor on a method of keeping their budget a little more in line. And I suggested just using their spidey sense, their librarian sense, to kind of figure out how much proportionally to spend on various genres and Dewey Decimal areas. But Casey, who seems to be pretty handy with technology, was able to make some actual fancy, colorful pie charts for me showing across the year how much various Dewey Decimal areas and fiction genre types go out, which is helpful because, you know, and interestingly enough, it kind of pretty close to what I would have guessed. But this is enabling them to sort of farm out how much to spend on each of these areas. So, and I do notice here too that all of our statistics are going up over the year, according to his charts, unless he's monkeyed with them to make me happy. Everything seems to be going up, so I was happy to see that was secondary to this project. But so, and as you can probably noted in the in Jack's report, everything is leveling out as far as their spending is going. They're kind of they haven't spent much in the last month and a half, so they're raring to go. But as long as they stay within that what we decided on, we should be fine at the end of the year. I also failed to mention that we did close early twice this month. On the 26th, we closed at 4:30. I don't know if you remember. 27th, we opened late at 11, and the 29th, we closed at 1. So we've had no full day closes, but Wednesday may be the first. Let's see. It's nothing of too much interest. It was a pretty quiet month. As noted, Danny has to fix the broken leader. I wrote it down this time. I'll remember to ask him. Friends. Oh, we have a Junior Friends Facebook, which is up and working. That was Melissa Cody's idea. She's always a library champion. Ken decided to give us 2 plays for the price of one. We had enough money left. He was going to give us his spring play, which is sort of usually a literary biographical type thing. But it has a very small cast, so he decided to do another one, a separate one. So I think that should work out. He's going to give me a bill of sale showing me what things cost, so we know that.
Okay.
All right.
And do Shakespeare?
And Shakespeare, that starts over in July, so that's his major thing, really. These are the smaller.
So he usually does Shakespeare and a small.
And a small and a
This time
stunning.
he's gonna
Actually,
do
got
Shakespeare
Shakespeare
and
in
two
3
small.
we really got, because he did kids play too.
Oh, right.
So,
Yeah,
so the
that's
more he
good.
gets our name on the,
That's fine.
in lights, the better.
We like that.
Is the second play going to be for kids or adults?
No, both of these are adults coming up. I mean, they're not. They're just
It's not
general
NC-17.
audience.
Yeah, right, there you go. It's adults. What are we sponsoring here? Wait a minute.
Just regular adults. Just regular adults.
Yeah, right.
Ken's trying to increase his audience.
There you go.
Standing, oh my. Library's built next year.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, right. There you go. That's all the money going.
Not much else. So I attended the what's that? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Of which, Jen?
The
What do you-
Shakespeare. We're doing Mary Wise
Okay.
of Windsor. Just fun fact.
Oh,
So mark
nice.
your calendar.
She's been appointed the director.
I'm doing.
Congratulations.
Oh, great.
So you'll see me a lot in
Good.
here.
You were
Asking me
co-director
for
on the
money.
last one, right?
Yeah, but
Now you're really
yeah,
full-fledged.
he really threw me under the bus. He's like, here you go, okay. So
Good for you, Hannah.
So I'll give you updates in summer when it's closer. So you'll see.
Other than that, looks like Finkelstein Library is zagging again. They just zigged out, now they're zagging back in. This happened once before in the 80s. They left
I'm sorry?
the system, Finkelstein spun
Oh.
out. And they may be coming back. They still take a while because of all the...
Boy,
Contracts.
what is the
It didn't work
motivation?
out for them.
I think it's just very the interlibrary loan aspect is just, it's a burden on their staff. Everything has to go through a third party for them. They can't just put in their patrons have to go, I guess, through the reference desk to get anything they want. They can't just put holds on things unless it's at their library. So can you imagine? I mean, anything that's outside of Finkelstein, they have to go through a librarian that does a separate catalog that puts it in and keeps all the paperwork like the old days, It's not automated. So it's sort of half automated now. And they want to, I believe that the last I heard, and the answer committee has decided, and I think the directors voted to go ahead with this, to give them 2 answer terminals, not give them, they have to buy them, 2 answer terminals to help a little bit, to kind of facilitate interlibrary loan, but it's sort of a halfway measure toward coming back into the system as a whole. But if they did, it would be nice for everybody, because they put a lot into the system. They're big, they have a lot of money, they bring our costs back down a little bit.
Great.
So I had a feeling that was going to happen. So Tracy Allen used to work here, actually. She was there as the new director, as head of the adult services, and worked here as a part-time librarian for a while.
She's the director
She's
there?
now the director, yeah.
Oh,
So I know
okay,
her
that's
from a
interesting.
ways back.
How long has she been the director then?
6 months, maybe. So I think that's it.
Yep.
Short and sweet.
Thank you very much.
You all have this stuff in your packets, so you can arm yourselves with information regarding the laws and the
Yes,
should
thank
you
you.
be queried out on the streets of Goshen about.
I always carry it in my bag.
Well, if you refer to.
Just spring newsletter, target date for
Oh,
mailing
no,
it.
I'll have to ask. I haven't even thought about it.
I need that information because the Friends are gonna do the children's writing contest again.
Oh, great. Okay.
When generally does the spring newsletter arrive at houses?
Well, wait a minute.
It
The
has
spring,
more to do
the
with the
spring
vote.
is the
With the
vote,
vote, yeah.
basically the vote. Yeah, so
So
we'll have to
it
work it
comes
out.
out at the end of March.
Right.
Is that right?
It
Right
generally
bef-
hits
right before
the people about a week before our vote,
Vote,
so it
right.
should
So
hit,
that would be
just like
first,
Easter week.
second, yeah.
It will hit.
First,
So we
second.
got-
And that's because we won't know who the trustees
Right. We have
running
to wait
for
to get the
election would
bios.
be.
and the-
Right, until
until
you get them back.
that close to the election, it becomes known, and then we can compile, we try to frantically compile all the information on the evening that we receive everything back.
and
Right.
everything gets approved, we try to have everything, ready, all laid out, and just insert, this
Yeah.
information and go forward with it. So that's the one letter that's tied to the vote.
So that's out the first week or so of April. And how
Yes.
far in advance does it have to be printed in order to be out the first week of April?
Usually a week before that.
So, I guess right
Week to
before
10 days.
Easter, I guess would be
Yeah.
the time to have your, Easter's the last weekend in March, correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
So if you have it
31st.
in that week before
Okay.
Easter.
But I'll send you out.
Please. And do we have the date for the vote?
Yes, I am seeking approval from the board for April 10th.
Okay.
We've had problems where the newsletter sits in post offices and doesn't,
Mhm.
in some cases, doesn't get to people till after the vote.
That was, we had that a couple years ago. Last year, we pushed it
Last
back
year.
even further, so it got out definitely, but we'll be
I think
sure
we
on
need
top of
to
that.
do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since we have Easter in there.
Time
Yeah,
is
it's tricky.
everything.
The
That's
time is
yeah.
tricky,
tricky.
but we'll
We
be
want-
sure to, I think one year, yeah, it kind of,
That was a couple of years ago that we had that.
Yeah, that was a couple
Last year
years
it
ago.
wasn't.
Yeah, well, it wasn't our fault.
but it's something to keep on.
Some
Yeah,
of the
right,
definitely
but
thought
right, it was
just
something
let
beyond
sit
our
there,
control,
second-class
yeah.
mail.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other unfinished business?
On the, I guess it's the adult services report, is that part of?
Yeah,
Correct.
you can smoke it.
I guess I mentioned this before, but this afternoon
Movies.
film
Right.
festival, film series, 2 people.
I know, it's also wintertime, I think. It does have better numbers in the spring and summer. But the thing to bear in mind is that it's fairly inexpensive because Eleanor bakes and brings her own food for it. And we already have a movie license, so we don't pay anything for that. So it's really just Eleanor's hour and a half down here. That's the expenditure, is her staff time. But I agree, it is that the numbers have gone down. I'll talk to her. I have a
sure
feeling it's
there's-
mostly the weather though, because it's usually a sort of an elderly bunch that, come, and I think they're afraid to come out when it's icy or, but maybe she can rethink it. I'll see.
I mean, she must spend some time talking it up and planning it and advertising, and it's not just the
No.
show itself.
Mm.
I mean, using her talents for something else, which might produce, 20 people. I'm sure there are other things that we could.
I think she now has I'll talk to her.
Okay.
I think it's the kind of thing where she sort of feels a sentimental attachment to this group that come, and the ones that do are so appreciative that it's hard for her to. Well, maybe she can figure out something else to do with them. I don't know. That'll bring some other people in. But I will talk to her. I haven't seen her that much actually. She's been out.
She's been out.
She's on jury duty now. First she had surgery. Now she's in jury
She's on
duty. I
jury
haven't seen her
duty.
in weeks. But,
You
yeah.
know she writes mystery novels, maybe don't let her off.
Right, that's right.
Okay, any other questions for Matt?
The Spanish story time is 23.
I know, it's great.
That's
That really
exploding.
took off.
Yeah.
Maybe you should do that more, more often. Other opportunities.
Yeah, I'll. We can.
Okay, new business. Well, we sort of agreed already to adopt the 2% budget. So let's make it official.
So you did vote on a specific number, is that correct?
One thing,
No, we think it's just 2%.
I wonder if we could do this first, just
Do I have to, that's.
the override resolution, just in case. I don't
Yeah,
know
we
if it
have to do
matters.
the override resolution because of the way,
There's always the chance that the
that the
formula
numbers don't
might-
exactly work out to
Right.
precisely 2%, so this covers us if it's a hair off. So should we do that first, Carol?
Please.
All right. So I'm going to read this out loud, and then we'll have a motion and a second and a vote, okay? Tax cap override resolutions. Whereas the adoption of the 2013-2014 budget for the Goshen Public Library and Historical Society may require a tax levy increase that exceeds the tax cap imposed by state law as outlined in General Municipal Law Section 3-C, adopted in 2011, and whereas General Municipal Law Section 3-C expressly permits the library board to override the tax levy limit by a resolution approved by a vote of 60% of qualified board members. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Goshen Public Library and Historical Society voted and approved to exceed the tax levy limit for 2013-2014 by at least the 60% of the Board of Trustees as required by state law on January 14th, 2013. So may I have a motion to accept this? Norman, a second, Bernie, all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, Carol. And Keith is absent. Okay? So, thank you very much. Now, we don't need an actual amount for the budget adoption action, right?
I thought we did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, we did.
Do you have the,
Don't we usually adopt a dollar amount that we're gonna collect?
I think you do.
Last year was 1.2 something.
Well, we have,
Yeah,
Yes.
do you have the, because I don't have
it's
it.
probably on the budget. Oh,
The
right.
2%, yes, budget total.
Anybody have a calculator?
Do you have the, Jack left with it, right? See, we should have it all.
The budget for expenses is $1,231,021.04. That's
Well,
It's
just the
it's
levy amount,
1.2.
not the amount.
Not the, yeah,
revenue.
not the full budget, just the tax levy amount, which was
Okay.
117 something, correct?
1.292, 170.
1 million,
I'm
okay.
looking at,
all right, the very
It's the
top, the
levy.
first page.
It's the very top, no,
1
the very
million.
top of the first page is the tax levy.
Yeah, 1,174,804.
Right, that's it.
You know, Carol thinks that we just could be on a percentage right now. Next
1,174,8
next
what?
time we.
1,174,8 what?
It says 1,174,804.
804. Why didn't I?
Why do we?
we put
would
in a
we-
number
would we
last
decide
year
a
in the
number
newsletter.
next?
I believe that we, in the past, we
Yes.
have done January, we've done a 2% or whatever your percentage was. And then in February, I come in with a resolution written with the amount and who's gonna be the chairperson and what's the date.
Oh, for the vote and everything.
the
I think you're
whole-
right,
yeah,
and
that's
then
what
we
I
make it
Mhm.
official then.
Mhm.
So we just agreed tonight on the amount.
Yeah.
2%.
So we agreed.
And then I
yeah.
make all the paperwork.
Right, and then finalize
Cleaner.
all the paperwork, and then we do one of these things. Thank you, Carolyn. Okay.
And did we at the last meeting go through how it would be distributed in the various?
Yes, because they had originally
That
taken money
included
away
the
from the
2%.
books, and then we moved money
That
back to
included
the
the
books.
2%, so that's
Yes.
all we've done, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did all of that the last meeting. Okay, so we're just going to, may I have a motion to approve a budget for the vote of 2% increase?
Go for it, Bernie.
What's that? Go away, Bernie, there you go, Bernie did it. All right, Bernie, second is Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, there we
Good
go.
work.
Everybody's in favor, thank you very much. And we did the tax cap resolution, and the December expenditures we did when we did
Jack.
with Jack, so we can cross that off. And there isn't any other new businesses there?
I do want to mention one thing.
Of course.
NYLA Library Advocacy Day. I don't know if anybody's read the RCLS emails or not, but that's on Tuesday, March 5th.
Mhm.
I went last year and it was a nice ride up to Albany. I drove over to Newburgh to get on the bus. The bus takes us to Albany.
Mhm.
You go and you sit in, crowd into
Lobby day.
yeah, lobby day. Crowd into your representatives and show your support for the library. It's not open strictly to trustees. Anybody who wants to support the libraries can. So I think we talked about it a couple months earlier, that maybe the Friends would be interested in sending some people. If anybody who wants to, RCLS will have details forthcoming in terms of cost and stuff, but it's pretty cheap to ride up there. It's something to consider for anybody who wants to support the library. So.
Too bad it can't be done
What are
on
the
a-
costs involved?
Yeah, I don't think it was that expensive. It's probably $20-25 for the day, and then you pay for lunch while you're there. So, and it might even be
That's
cheaper.
much
Might
better.
even be cheaper than that. Yeah,
Okay.
Tuesday. It's always the first Tuesday. I think it's always the first Tuesday of March, and so it's Tuesday, March 5th this year.
Mm.
But they didn't have any emails on or details rather on the last email. So.
What do we do?
Talk about the classes. I mentioned some classes. That probably shouldn't be on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
The trustees that are up for reelection,
Yes, it'd be Keith and Norma.
Keith and
You're chomping at the bit to do this for 3 more years, aren't you?
Right.
you're not going to disappoint us, are you?
No, I'm not.
Cool.
Why don't you bring your petition, because you need your 25 signatures.
Well, you don't
Can't
have
get
that.
them out yet.
Yes, you can't get them
Okay.
out until.
Go get her.
Okay, are there
Can
any
make for an awkward
proposed?
meeting. No. No.
Anything else? Okay, any proposed agenda meetings for next month? We are going to get back to the
Plan.
plan, yes, and hopefully finish it next month, because we got most of it written out, it's just making it pretty. Okay. Privilege of the floor. Would you have anything to add, my dear?
Madam Director?
Madam Director, there you go.
I don't think so.
Alright, done well.
Yeah, I'm doing very wise in summer. I graduate in May.
Congratulations.
That's scary. Oh no, that's scary. I'm like,
And then?
huh?
And then?
That's what's
Then
scary.
she's a-
I direct in the summer.
Don't you just that, all that education,
So you can direct
Bring in the
things.
big
So I can
bucks
boss
this
people
summer.
around. Yeah, I gotta direct. I gotta.
Remember the little people when you get to the big time.
That's
Oh,
right.
don't worry. You guys will be first on my list. It'll be Mom, Dad, Jesus, the library board.
Oh, Jesus is third?
Third?
I'm glad I'm not at least in one of the 3.
Okay, well, thank you. And I need a motion to go into executive session. Norma, she's thrilled about it. Nancy, also thrilled about it. Everybody in favor of going into executive session?
Aye.
Aye, yeah.
We are going in?
We are
Yes.
going into
Okay.
executive session. So, let us know when the film effects